Welcome back to another episode of Uncut and Unfiltered. Today, we have been welcomed in at Tullibardine Distillery, and I have to say, I'm very excited. We've got some fantastic whiskies in front of us, which we're going to get stuck into. Also, some incredibly beautiful chocolates, right, Posh? I mean, this is right up your street. This is posh chocolate, right?
Right, what, you call me fat again?
Well,
not
maybe
even 1 minute in.
You might be getting there after these. Yeah, absolutely.
In all seriousness, they are beautiful, and I don't think the camera would ever pick up just how like this one looks like something the Hubble telescope's taken a picture of. It's all kind of glittery. Like
you have to come down here to Tullibardine to try them, guys. Absolutely, the camera will not do them justice. Today we are also joined by Roz and Stacey. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies. How are you today?
Good, very good. Yeah, ready to have some drams.
Absolutely. Well, look, let's not waste any time. Let's get stuck in. Posh has very kindly already poured the first 2 drams. We're going to start with the 225, which is your Sauterne cask finish. This is one of your core releases. And as we've been discussing during our time here, it's wonderful that your core range has such diversity. 4 really great expressions. Out of interest, what was it about the Sauternes that you wanted to showcase today? What made you pick that one?
I just think it's a really good, I sometimes call it a breakfast whiskey, which I get in trouble for, but I think it's like a really nice entry to Tullibardine, like a really good starter.
Yeah.
Because it's got the sweetness, floral notes of it. And it's, although it is a finish, it's still a really good like example of like Tullibardine, what I can do in a wine cask. Mm-hmm.
And Sauternes is a sweet dessert wine. Yes. Do we have, and I only ask you because Tullibardine is so great for provenance. Do we have a provenance on these casks, or are we not allowed to say?
Unfortunately, we don't.
We don't have a provenance.
It doesn't come under our umbrella of a French wine contact.
Okay.
Unfortunately, in the same way that the Burgundy or the Chateauneuf does.
Right. Okay.
So we have to source these separately.
Cool. Okay. Fantastic.
just as a bit of info for the guys at home, this one's called the 225.
Yeah.
225 years old.
We have been asked that several times.
Yeah.
That and
really?
Sometimes
wow.
because they see the numbers, they see 225, 228, 500, and then say, "Is that the age?" And I'm like, shockingly, no. This is not the
500
age.
years in a sherry cask would be obscenely tart.
Yeah.
So no, there is the litres of the type of barrel it's finished in. Mm-hmm. So we have 225 for a Sauterne cask and a 228 barrique and a 500 butt is what we have always, is a historic thing that Tullibardine have had on their signature range, and we've kind of carried that on. It gives a little bit of a intrigue, I guess. I don't know. People ask the question what it is, and it maybe stands out on shelf, even if people think it's really old whiskey and it's not.
I think it's great to have that little bit of insight. I have to say, we were discussing it there just the other day, and it really does give, as you say, for people who maybe aren't in the world of whiskey, who aren't aware, it gives that little bit of, oh, okay, so a 225 litre cask, where does it come from? You know, all of a sudden it lends itself to you being able to take that information forward on your whiskey journey and applying it to other drams, you know, which I think is really, really, and it's just conversation starter, exactly, which I think is so important.
And people start referring to it by the numbers as well, I've found. They say Sauternes, they'll
right.
just say, can I have a bottle of the 225 or the 228? It's quite a...
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. I like that. Almost like a colloquial sort of, get me the Tully 225.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. And I have to say, Roz, you're in good company, because I would exactly what you've said. This is a breakfast
nice
whiskey.
starter.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that you have to have it in the morning. It just means that it suits the palate.
Good as well.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
like
you don't.
Whiskey porridge.
God, I tell you what, I'm trying to get you out of trouble. You keep getting yourself in more trouble. I'm not going to help you anymore. Whiskey and porridge there, guys. Let us know if you tried it.
Do we want to try the chocolate with it? No?
Sure.
Okay, so the chocolate is the darker chocolate with the little green spot on the top, and it is a yuzu and black cherry chocolate.
Oh my God.
So these are handmade by Third Sin Confectionery. She lives just in Glasgow, and she hand paints each of them, so the little design on them it's always different every time. It's always slightly different, and it's like really pretty and quite tasty. Mm-hmm.
It really is insanely. I almost don't want to eat it, but now you said yuzu and black cherry, it's definitely going.
Yeah, that is really, really good chocolate.
So the reason we paired it with Sauterne is the fruitiness. Actually, we found out that it works quite well with lots of different fruity chocolates. Like we've had other citrus chocolates or tropical like passion fruit chocolate. And I don't know, there's something about the Sauterne and that really like complement each other.
Yeah.
God, they do go down exceptionally well.
Yeah.
I get a lot of honey and melon off the Sauternes.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
a little bit of ginger sometimes as well.
I'm definitely getting lots of really, like, not even like that cheap honey. It's beautiful, like straight from the
Yeah.
beehive. It's almost got it's got that texture as well, like the honeycomby texture.
Yeah.
It's not as it smells so light, like you say, like a breakfast whiskey. So inoffensive on the nose, very light. You actually probably need to sit with it a while to truly appreciate all of the scents and flavors coming out. But on the palate, is not as, I was almost expecting it to dissipate and be quite short, but it's not too short a dram at all.
Yeah. I mean, I think from my experience, especially when I was first getting into whiskey, I was really disappointed by the first few Sauternes finished whiskies that I had. This was not amongst them.
Yeah.
Because you sit there and you think this is a really sweet, thick, unctuous wine. But because you've got, I guess, presumably French, potentially Limousin oak in those barrels, actually it's quite easy for a lot of tannins to come through, and they can be surprisingly tart and dry and spicy, and ginger can be something you get, but it can be almost overpowering, and it is absolutely not here. This is just, lovely and light and fruity and honeyed.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Actually, it was something we were talking about there off camera the other day, Stacey, and saying about like personal preference is everything, right? In whiskey, there's no right, there's no wrong.
Yeah.
And I love your core range. And I love also the idea of being able to, some of your sort of special releases, some of them that have been left in sherry a little bit longer. I love the 500, the sherry, it's beautiful, but a little bit longer is something that, maybe I would like. But with this, it's like, exactly like you said, that is perfect. It's exactly what you want. Very, very approachable. Melon is interesting. I'm not getting the melon. I would like to.
I get tropical fruit on it for like pineapple.
Yeah,
like pineapple.
I'm more
side.
down that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a little bit of coconut oil as well, a little bit oiliness.
Yeah.
It's beautiful though, really cool. Now I don't want to finish this. I'd like to sort of do a heads up. The second one we're trying here is the 18.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about this one, ladies. What is going into the 18? I'm noticing bourbon and sherry casks.
Yes.
But I don't really know anything about the 18. So please give us the little breakdown there.
So the lowdown is that we brought this down out in 2023. So there was various iterations of this before we landed on a 75-25 split between fully matured bourbon and fully matured sherry.
Okay.
So
And sorry, first fill. I'm just conscious
Yes.
that you're very, very focused on
Yeah.
first fill with a lot
Yeah.
of your expressions.
Yeah.
So 18
So-
years in first fill bourbon and first fill sherry.
yeah,
That's
and
amazing.
then they were married together
Phenomenal.
for this expression. We it's quite rare that a lot of people think that it's going to be an 18-year-old finish, that we've recast it at some point, and that's what's formed the 18-year-old. But no, it's fully matured in both types, both components, before we brought it together.
It's beautiful. What is this bottle now?
43.
43. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was kind of key for us is with like pricing and what's happening at the moment. We wanted to keep it under £100 for people because I think getting an 18-year-old under £100 is quite rare these days.
Yeah, definitely.
So actually having the 43 let us do that and keep it within core. The rest of the range is in 43% as well. So we thought we'll just keep all that together and then, we can use our limited editions and things to try the higher strengths. And yeah, the key was to keep our customers happy by not going mad on the price, and also having sherry in it means that's quite rare to find like that price point.
Yeah.
They blend together beautifully though. Was there a marrying period or is it just vatted and bottled?
Vatted and bottled. I mean, obviously, we would leave that for at least like 24 to 36 hours.
But it's not married in a cask over
No,
6 months.
no.
Which is actually, sometimes you get vattings and there's a little bit of disjointedness between the bourbon and the sherry or the whatever and the whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I actually think this comes together really, really nicely. You get that kind of honey and the vanillas, but then it comes into, I'm getting quite a bit of walnut. I'm not sure if anyone else is with me on that. Walnuts and so going into that dry, presumably Oloroso.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Slightly drying end, but again, the tannins have been sort of tamed a little bit. I actually think again, you know, as somebody who likes higher strength drams and sometimes would hunt down stuff, I know Stevie's off camera today, but you know, he's terrible for finding whiskies too thin sometimes. But actually, I think too much stronger and the tannins would start disturbing that mid palate and kind of getting in the way of the enjoyment of all the flavors again. I'm really quite enjoying this.
Yeah, I think the mouthfeel actually for 43 is good.
It's good, right? Yeah, really good. I'm enjoying this.
I think.
So sorry, is this chocolate for this as well?
Sorry, yes.
Sorry, I'm
Yes.
getting overexcited about chocolates now. That first one was really good.
It is. This is a ginger and coconut chocolate. So
That's quite
there's lots going
big
on.
flavours.
Big flavors, but we we did a lot of Christmas tastings and a lot of food pairings for Christmas.
Okay.
And so we found like all of our sherries go really well with like gingerbread. Gingerbread is like such a good match. So we kind of hinted that might work with the chocolate, and we tried it, and yes, it really does. So a little bit of ginger and then coconut, sort of bringing out those kind of tropical side, I guess, on the bourbon part of it. But it does work quite well, I think. But I get Christmas spice a little bit on the dram as well. So there's but you still get the hint of the sherry on it for sure.
Beautiful. But silence is golden. It's rare that it's this quiet on this podcast. Anyone who's listening and not watching, we're enjoying some beautiful chocolates at the minute. That's why it's so quiet.
We're on the right side of life today. You get to.
Lucky me.
Oh wow, that's coconutty as anything.
Yeah.
It is, but then once you have the dram, like, I don't know, there's just something like nice and balanced about the two.
I think it's because it's the 18-year-old bourbon, like that portion of it, the white oak, the American white oak, is so coconutty.
Yes.
And then it's just
That's absolutely
completely
right.
backed
Like
up.
yeah. Because the first few sips, I think, Rosie and Tyra, I got a lot of nutmeg and kind of a little bit of kind of cinnamon as well. The Christmas spice comes through. You get, despite it only being 25, quite a bit of the Oloroso coming through.
Yeah.
With the chocolate, it's flipped it completely back to the 75% and the bourbon flavors.
Yeah, bringing out those flavors, teasing
Yeah.
them out. I actually found the first chocolate with the Sauternes was a lovely pairing, but it was like a whiskey and a chocolate. It didn't necessarily amplify the whiskey or amplify the chocolate.
And this does.
I find that this
Yeah.
really does in a whole different way, which is cool. Very cool. Nutmeg.
Nutmeg.
That was it. Yeah.
Nutmeg's a
Couldn't
good
put my
one.
finger on.
That is a good one.
A spice. Very good one.
Cloves as well, a wee bit.
Clove. Okay. A beautiful dram though. So this is the first sort of first high age statement. I mean, say high age statement. You know, people generally talk about high age statements, 18 and above, as part of your core range. Ever?
Yeah.
Or
Well, not
in quite
ever,
a
no.
while? Or I
So
know
we
you've
used
got
to
the
do
15.
the 20 and the 25.
Yeah.
It links back to what I was talking about yesterday, because we came out that period of mothball in 2003. We started filling casks at that point. So some of the inventory that's gone into this product is from like 2003, 2004.
Yeah.
So we moved into that period where we could start doing these aged bottlings, and that'll only continue.
So we're kind of in a bit of a golden zone, kind of like Glendronach. Ian and I are massive fans of Glendronach, and because of the time it was shut, they released the 18, but it was actually 24 or whatever it may be. So actually there's a lot of 20 plus year old stock that goes into this at the minute. Is that fair to say? Yeah.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. And again, under 100 quid, when you know that little bit of inside information, it's already, well priced as an 18-year-old, but it's actually not an 18-year-old. It's more than an 18-year-old, which is great to know. Very, very cool.
Going forward, we will be a bit more accurate, I would say, with inventory because we can. But those early releases, we did have to utilise slightly older stock. So
and this is it for those in the know now.
Batches.
Grab them up whilst you can, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, cool. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, the 20 and the 25 had quite a cult. Like once we'd stopped selling them, people were literally asking for them all the time. Once we had no longer got them, obviously, and so they're on auction sites and stuff. But they were they had big followings, and they were both sherried, I think, weren't they?
I own them, but I've never tried them.
Yes,
They're in their box.
Yeah.
And they will not come out of the box.
Yeah. So you prefer the 18 pairing to the Sauterne, you think? And
Not
just
that I
the
prefer
amplification
it.
part of
I
it?
think it adds to the whiskey. It really adds to the whiskey on this one. Teases out that coconut. And you're right. For me, it was the sherry was kind of the upfront thing, and then as soon as it's like you appreciate both sides of the dram.
Yeah. I think with the Sauternes, it was quite a complementary chocolate, whereas with this one, it's complementary, but it's brought out the contrast as well.
Yeah.
God, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
I like that. How much are you looking at? But I will come on to it later on anyway. It's not the be all and end all, but just out of interest, you're saying under £100 a week.
90.
Oh, okay. I was expecting to say 99.99.
99.99.
Yeah. Okay. £90 is good though, right? Okay. Cool. Very cool. All right. I don't want to rush us through because I'm thoroughly enjoying these, but I see a 31 up next.
Yeah.
That's a bit special. Talking about age statements. Before we pour it, can we talk through it a little bit? What goes into this? Is this a very special bottle we're about to
Really
try?
quite special, and it's kind of the other end of what we were just talking about. So the 18 was after mothball. This was directly before mothball. So this is 1993. So there was 2 casks that went into this. We managed to get 325 bottles. So a 31-year-old 1993 cask. And it's not just bourbon for this either. So it was in first of all bourbon, and then it was transferred into virgin oak in 2016.
Wow. Okay. That's an interesting finish.
It really is, yeah.
Okay. And out of interest, was that under your guidance?
No, that was
Okay.
not. No, I just happily came across this.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Good discovery.
Found a winner. Okay.
Yeah. So it's in that distillery character range that we've not really made an expression of. We've got the non-age statement, we've got the 18-year-old, and this is just pushing the boundary into that, not quite the custodian age of the 49-year-old. It's in that sweet spot, I would say, where you've lost your immature character. You're not completely overwhelming the profile with all the wood oak extractives.
Right.
It's really quite a special profile, I would say. It's a lot of brown sugar, a lot of caramel. It's very smooth. I mentioned yesterday that the virgin oak tends to add a lot of astringency sometimes and tannin on the palate.
For sure.
But this is not that at all.
Oh,
I wish
cool.
I had a glass of it here for you to try. But yeah, I think we're moving through it quite quickly. But 325 bottles, still quite a few.
Yeah, we've still
to
got
go.
some left. So it's the 75th anniversary of distilling. So last 2024 was our 75th year, so we want to bring out a commemorative bottle. So hence why we have like a wooden box for it.
Right.
Individually numbered bottle as well.
Stunning, okay.
So it's a little bit on the special side, basically. And yeah, really, I say mellow is my
mellow, yeah.
interpretation of it is quite like easygoing, and it is a lower, like, the ABV wise,
it's 45.2. I should have mentioned that. Yeah, it's
Okay.
45.2.
A natural strength or watered
Yes.
down a little
No,
bit? Yeah,
natural. Yeah.
Beautiful. Natural strength under 50. That's what we love, right, Posh? Out of interest, Stacey, a question for yourself. Given that the distillery has changed hands a couple of times, but also closed down for a small period. Obviously now you're responsible for managing the stocks, blending the stocks, creating these wonderful expressions that we have in front of us. Do you find that difficult to do with stocks from kind of the time gone by where you and the whole team here weren't in control of that, weren't in control of the processes? Is it easier now, with Minnie on board and being able to kind of have that oversight of stock from creation through maturation to the point of bottling?
Yeah.
Or, tell me, what challenges do you face? What's interesting about it? What do you hate about it? Tell us.
So I would say how we differ to other companies is a lot of the time with bigger companies like Diageo or Edrington, they kind of lead with the whole MPD side of things. So they work backwards. They have an idea and then they go and look at their inventory and see how they can create that product.
Right.
With us here, because as you say, we've had gaps and we've had change of hands in terms of ownership. It's a bit of a patchwork in terms of inventory. So we don't always have large parcels of stock that we can tap into to create a very consistent, routinely released product.
Right.
We kind of have to look at the maturing inventory and see what we can do from there. So it's not really like an idea inception and we work back. We have to look at the inventory and work forward and see what our bottling looks like, what our production would look like. That is becoming more consistent because we've been owned by Terroirs since 2011. So we've consistently been putting down X amount litres of alcohol per year, and we've been having a cask management program.
Right.
So we know what's coming down the line. But for a little while, it's just going to be a picking and choosing and seeing what we can do. But on the flip side of that, it makes it really exciting for us because we come across gems like this, like a 1993 cask that 2 of them were filled and someone decided to recask it in 2016.
For sure.
And
if you had pigeonholed yourself into, well, we are looking for a 25-year-old for X, Y, and Z reason, then you come across, it doesn't fit the criteria, you might not have even tried it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so to be honest, it makes a lot more sense. I mean, the whiskey is the thing that matters at the end of the day. Why not work from that forward, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It makes much more sense to me.
If we still look in our ranges, so we have a single cask range, we have a Handfill range, and like we are going to introduce a cask strength edition. So that is coming from that side forward, but we're just seeing what would fit within that. And there's obviously quite wide parameters for them. So like we come up with the idea for a range and then we kind of see what would fit within that. So that kind of, it is a two-way. It's not completely just from that, but totally. And Stacey knows the casks inside it. So she's also amazing at just like lining up like basically a table, like we fill this table with glasses and we'll just have an afternoon just
Awesome.
nosing and tasting, so it's quite cool.
Very, very cool. Okay, shall we try the 31?
Yeah.
Posh, over to you, sir.
I can use a spittoon.
Phenomenal. So 4 years in Virgin Oak. That is, 2016. So
8 years.
8 years.
It's almost
in Virgin
double
Oak.
maturation.
Wow, 8 years in Virgin Oak. That's insane.
But I genuinely think if someone were to taste this, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't know unless you told them. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because
the colour is stunning.
Whenever I've had Virgin Oak, they have been quite punchy of like.
Yeah.
Because it's not
It is a
toasted
bit of
in
an
any
assault
way.
on the senses sometimes,
Totally
isn't it?
raw wood, no toasting.
Right.
So you're not getting that caramelization of the hemicellulose, the wood sugars. You're not getting that breakdown. You're getting some breakdown in terms of the ethanol soluble compounds.
Yeah.
But in terms of toasting, that's not there.
And that I think is really fascinating because I think people have got assumptions they make about Virgin Oak, right? They look at how those casks are produced, kind of the American bourbon market at a very heavy char level, and assume you're going to get something, right? It's fascinating to kind of understand like how, like that wasn't just a kind of an oddity. It was a cask that was deliberately selected for a reason and then left there for that 8-year period.
Yep. And not common at the time, I don't think.
No.
I don't think Virgin Oak was quite a
I
thing
feel like Virgin
back
Oak
then
was-
in 2016.
That is good. That is very good.
And there's definitely like wood on it, but it's not
A lot,
overpowering
yeah.
wood for the age. Like
No, there is, a slight drying and then going into a slight astringency at the back palate, but it's actually wonderful. The spices on that are very well integrated, very well balanced. And sorry, this is a cask strength of 45.
45, yeah.
That's good. That's very good.
yes, sippable for a 31-year-old.
Yeah.
And I don't need to add any water or anything. I feel like a lot. I feel like that across our range, actually, just no matter how high we go in strength, I never really need to add water. Obviously, it's nice to try and see if it opens up any new flavours, but I think our liquid works really well with the high strength and the 43, so work both ways.
What do you reckon, Posh? What are you getting?
The mouthfeel on this is really, really good. I think, we've already said it, right? Kind of lower cask strength ABVs. It's very silky. It just kind of sits like beautifully in the kind of lower part of your mouth and jaw. And then it's a really nice kind of gentle, elegant mix of kind of vanillins, a little bit of fruit, and as I said, a kind of a wonderful mix of spices.
Yeah, that mid palate really does stretch. Silky is a great word. It stretches out nicely, though.
Spice is quite a common theme in our character. I feel like we have a spicy element to most of the finishes that the finish of the actual whiskey. Usually I get like a pepperiness to it, and I think there's definitely some spice in this for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
A little bit of gingerbread on this one for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to notes on this one. It's good is not really a no, is it? Yeah.
I like it.
It's all right, isn't it?
Gingeriness, yes.
Yeah.
Gingerbread, yeah, okay, that's good. I'll just take your lead, mate. Go on, tell me what else. Tell me what else.
No, don't put me on the spot now. Giving me something.
I'm surprised again, to be honest. I'm getting hints of coconut on this. And talk about virgin oak, like normally those lactones would come through once you char the cask.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, please correct me if I am wrong, but that's what I would expect to get more of those coconutty flavors from.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, it just before it goes into those slightly drying spices and that depth at the back end, I'm getting still those sweet coconutty. Yeah, it's beautiful. And there's a fruit note that I cannot put my finger on quite. It's not as tropical as the 18. There is something in there.
Peaches?
Though.
Is there a peachy kind of?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe it is more orchard than it is tropical, yeah. It's very good.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Because that silkiness is like a kind of single cream, right? It's a bit like a kind of peach Melba or something.
Peach Melba's a good one,
Well done. Fair play. What was it you were saying yesterday as well? Tart tatin? Yeah.
That's a good flavour note.
Kind of goes down that route a little bit. That's good.
Well, you're going to like what's next then if you like tart tatin.
What's next? Go on.
It's the Calvados.
Is that the Calvados?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's do some dual wielding here.
So 31, that's available at the distillery and the distillery shop. And those are the only
online
two
and
places.
The shop here, yeah.
And then the Calvados, and then what we've got coming after that, they're single casks.
Yes.
And again, available
Distillery shop and online for the single cask range, but the Handfill is only at the shop.
Only at the shop.
So
Okay.
So this Calvados looks like it doesn't look like it is a duty-free sample.
yes.
Has this been bottled yet? Has this been
It
released?
hasn't been bottled yet.
Okay, so something upcoming and exciting.
Yeah, we're about to launch. I think it will be the end of the month, start
Fantastic.
of July, that we launch this one.
So guys, if you're watching this now, it means that the Calvados is already out. It's live. Log in, tullibardine.com.
Yes, shop.tullibardine.com is the actual shop.
Tullibardine, yeah. You don't want to hang around on the main page. You want to get straight into the shop. Get one of these in your basket before they sell out. Exactly.
And also, so for our custodians, they get a week extra early access to it. So we only release a certain number online, and it's a small number. So we give our custodians the first opportunity to buy, and sometimes it sells out before they get to. It goes on main release on the website. So we do. Join the custodian club.
Wicked, absolutely. Yeah. And we're actually sat in the custodian lounge at the minute. We've been in here, a couple of times now, and it is beautiful what you've done with the space. It probably doesn't do it any justice on camera, guys, because we're tight shots here, but it really is lovely. Now, if I am a custodian and I want to visit the distillery, am I getting additional accesses? Obviously, I'm getting additional accesses at the shop.
Yeah. So you get like a lifetime discount at the shop, and you also get half price bonded tours for life as well. So you can come and enjoy the tour. Okay. So we have like a classic or a bonded with chocolate tour, but the bonded chocolate is the.
I was about to say, the bonded with chocolate is the one to do, guys. They're very good chocolates, and you get the whiskey. So there you go, happy days all around.
Yeah, and sometimes we hold events just for custodians at the distillery, so they come along, and me and Stacey tend to host them, and we try and do different things. So we do like food pairing sometimes. We did a Hoff and Hoff night recently at a pub in Perth with pizza and paired beer. I mean, that was quite an intensely alcoholic night. It was there was quite high strength beer and whiskey on the go. So it was, but there was full pizza as well. So it was a good night.
Fantastic.
So stuff like that, and we'll try and do different things. And I would like to move beyond just the distillery. So like maybe in Edinburgh and Glasgow, we'll do some things just for custodians, and we'll see what other themes we can go with. But we always do a Christmas one because I like eating Christmas food and I like doing the pairings at home. So I think we'll always do that purely for a selfish
just because
reason.
Of you, right?
I can
good for you.
Just get to eat all the Christmas food.
Why not? Absolutely. Absolutely. So you really are building like a nice little community here. It's not just about get online and buy a couple of our whiskeys, come down, beautiful space, get involved, and also, like you say, looking like to expand that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Ladies, I want to touch on something, your packaging. 1488. And I suppose like the heritage of Tullibardine. We were talking earlier, it's not a 225-year-old whiskey. It's a 225 litre cask. 1488, I know the story. I don't want to mess it up. I'd love to hear it from you.
Yep.
Please tell us a little bit about the history of the distillery, the relevance of 1488, because it's such a cool story.
Yeah, it's a historic date rather than the date that the distillery started. So it was a brewery at the time, and King James IV was going by after he'd been coronated, and he bought some beer, and that is the first recorded purchase of beer. So there's a historic reason for having the distillery here. So obviously the brewery found the water source to be helpful and useful at the time. And so in 1947 is when the distillery was created by William Delm Evans. And he then went on to do Jura and Glenallachie. But I think ours was the first in that century. So Tullibardine was the first for a while that had been opened in Scotland, I guess, at the time. Single malt whiskey distilleries were not as popular. Weren't all popping up everywhere.
For sure.
So he had water source. We know we get the water from the Ochil Hills, and the Dannyburn runs through the distillery. So he's obviously, the fact there was a brewery here before, knew that it would be a good source for having a distillery. And we share the same water source as Highland Spring as well. So we're in good company with that. And then we started distilling in 49. So the 75th anniversary was launched at the end of last year, because that's 75 years since we've been distilling.
Okay, so 1949 the distillery was founded, but you have a history here in these hills for many, many moons before that. Yeah. I love that. That's so cool. And, the first recorded sale of beer. I mean, not many people, well, nobody else can say that exactly, but not many people have that sort of claim to heritage.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's nice to be able to have.
Really, really cool. Out of interest, is there any sort of connections with breweries or anything that you'd like to do on the brewery front to kind of bring that heritage back? You
actually
mentioned
did.
about
So
beers.
We did a Hoff and Hoff night, and the place we did it with is in Perth, and they've got our casks and they're using it for some beers. So we're going to see how that goes, and we might do a little to and fro and see if we do some maturing in their casks.
Okay.
Or after it's been in the beer. I don't know, Stacey, would we do that?
It's a new ground for me.
Potentially,
Let's see what happens.
And there was actually a previous partnership before both of our time. There was another partnership with a beer. It was called the 1488 beer, actually. So that I don't think that's available anymore. But that was already in the works. So yeah, there's definitely a connection there, and it's nice to link it into the story. So
absolutely.
Potentially, yeah. We could keep your eyes peeled. We might do a beer.
Room to grow. Absolutely. Fantastic. What do we think of this? This is lovely.
Yeah.
I've got some notes for you if you don't want me to put you on the spot now.
Please.
The ginger coming through, definitely. I'm getting the sherbet note towards the back end. Really, really nice. I'm enjoying this thoroughly. The apple isn't the most prevalent thing, though. You think you hear Calvados.
I find I get it at first.
On the forefront, but it's not the most prevalent thing throughout the dram. And that's, you hear Calvados and you think, this is just going to be an apple bomb. This is like apple bobbing and getting fully involved. But save that first bite. It is like a bite of a fresh apple, and then you're into that gingeriness. And go on, Posh, what else?
Well, I think, as I say, I've had a bunch of Calvados casks where it is exactly that. It's apple overload. It's too much.
It's one-dimensional. Yeah, and a bit. It is overload is a great word. I've tried a lot of Calvados where it's like, I mean, I've got a sweet tooth and I love apples, but sometimes it's just like, Jesus, give me a break here. Like,
you were saying that yesterday.
Like some of the ones I've had, whiskey ones, I don't know, it's like the nose is really like an artificial appliness, which I definitely don't get in ours at all. So yeah, I find that I've not seen as many of the Calvados finishes that I enjoy, shall I say.
I think that's because our base spirit, so the thoughts behind this were because we get a lot of baked apple notes from a 15-year-old. So I picked some casks from that inventory year that we were using at the time for 15-year-old. The thought being, this might work complementary, quite a good parallel working between the two spirits.
Absolutely.
So I think that's maybe why it's not artificial.
Yeah.
It's natural.
Yeah.
And it's not overpowering.
Yeah. This is, it kind of almost goes through a kind of apple life cycle as you kind of go through it. Like the nose is quite fresh and crisp. You know, that's your apple straight off the shelf or the tree. Then the front palate for me, there's a little bit of a kind of slightly more malty note. Is kind of more into your apple crumble. The apple is quite stewed.
Yeah.
And then with that kind of ginger that comes through, I'm also getting quite a bit of caramel, and that's where the kind of tart tatin kind of, and perhaps slightly more kind of pastry note comes through with it at the same time.
God, he's good, isn't he? Look at those for tasting
those
those
notes.
people.
Yeah.
There we go. Hey, you're so spot on, man. That's actually perfectly described. That's really good. Yeah. Very, very cool.
So this is 17 years old, isn't it?
17,
It's-
Is it indeed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
So 2007.
that's cool.
Interesting story about this. We put it into cask and we were excited about it. So we were checking it 3 months, 6 months. When's it ready? We got to 12 months, but wasn't quite there.
Why is it not happening?
What's going on here?
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
compare
Why is
it
the
to
Calvados
what's
not
happening
kicking
now,
in?
what's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on here. But then we did a tasting session recently and we were like, yes, it's there. That's it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Right.
Wicked.
Okay, we're good to go.
Wicked.
So it just, when you compare that to the orange, that we'll get onto it obviously, but a lot quicker finishing time there.
Right.
This just took a little bit more time. But
Yeah.
I think it's worth it.
I tell you what, that's so nice to hear. I was literally just about to say, I love that you are not overly precious. Sorry, how long was that in the Calvados for, you say, all in?
Since, what are we in now? 2023.
So 2 years, near enough.
Well, but I'd say about 18
Year and a
months.
half?
Mid 2023. Yeah.
So basically, you took a 15-year-old whiskey and you thought, we're going to put that in Calvados. So many distilleries wouldn't take that sort of a leap, I think. And I think it's really, really paid off. It's wonderful to see, not, like I say, not being overly precious with stock. Same with the 31 we just tried. Put in some virgin oak and see what happens and see how that goes. And it's gone absolutely wonderfully. It works so well. I think that sort of ability, that level of creation, and that's one thing I've really found since being here. You've got great owners. It sounds as though they were fairly hands-on early days to make sure things were set up. But since then, letting you all do your jobs, which is how a distillery should be run. It's not all about the bottom line. It's just let the people who we've hired, who are in the position, they know what they're doing, do what they know how to do. And this sort of stuff comes out and it just makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah,
That is
Stacey
beautiful.
will give a list and she'll be like, we can get these kind of cash, shall we do it? And we're like, me and her are just like, yes, okay, let's do it. We get really excited by it. Like, when they come in, she's like, they're here, should we go and see them?
I love
And
it,
we
I
go
love
and
it.
see them. We recently got some quarter casks.
Quarter cask, yeah, 60 litre.
Okay.
So we're quite excited about maybe doing some custodian things only with that. So
Lovely.
they were the ones that came in. So we actually opened them ourselves. We're not the most proficient in cask handling, I'd say.
You're really not
So
at
we
all.
No,
were
but
just
you're
in
the most excited
facility.
though. That energy rubs
We're
off on the
straight
casks,
in.
I'm sure. 100%. 100%.
So we're like, should we see if there's any remnant in there? Just have a wee
We
nose
did,
of it.
yeah.
We did.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Cool. Out of interest then, are we toying around, obviously Calvados, historically, SWA would have given you a big slap on the hand, maybe a bit worse than that, to be honest. Are we playing around with things with the future in mind, where maybe there's some stuff that we wouldn't be able to release now legally as single malt scotch?
Really interesting point, actually. Yeah. I mean, right now we're just toeing the line, I suppose, is the best phrase. Nothing that would be
Wacky.
Yeah. But that's a really interesting way of looking at things. Yeah, putting things in cask now, hoping that they may one day be
Legal.
What would you love to be able to that you can't at the minute?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I'm a rum fan. I love rum as well as whiskey. So, but we can already do that. We have it here.
Yeah.
We have done it.
Yeah.
So I'd have to think about that.
Come back to you later in the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to let that lie.
I've seen people do maple syrup recently as a thing.
Oh my
Yes.
God, maple syrup
I'm
casks
curious
are
by that.
phenomenal.
I'm
Have you tried the
curious.
whiskeys?
No.
Oh my God. It's like,
I think I know what you mean, and I've tried them.
You tried that?
Yeah.
yeah.
And the hot sauce thing as well.
Or the Tabasco. Yeah.
Ooh,
It's
Tabasco, that's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Maple
how I
syrup
feel.
I've tried a couple of times.
Yeah.
The best one was probably that Defilement from Master of Malt.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a 26-year-old
Yeah.
Highland Park that you weren't allowed to call a Highland Park.
Right, okay.
You could tell by the label it was clearly a Highland Park. And oh my God, that
Lovely.
was good.
Was it?
Oh, it was like smoked bacon on
Yeah.
waffles with
Yeah.
loads of maple syrup on top.
Yeah.
One of my favorite drams as like a weird and wacky,
Yeah.
off-piste.
Yeah.
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 I think that sort of creation is great. And it's a shame the SWA kind of stifles that to certain degrees.
I was actually in the US last week and I was talking to like a guy at one of the stores. They do their own podcasts and they have their own casks as well. And they did a soda finish. I was like, you guys can just do what you like.
What
It's
sort
so
of
good.
soda?
So basically in Boston.
Soda is very like American.
Well, no,
is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's this only a Bostonian thing that they have called, I'm going to get this right, it's called Moxie. And then when they have it in a bar, you'd have it mixed with rye, so they call it a Roxy. So they've made a Roxy cask finish. And I was like, that is wild. I was like mind blown because we couldn't do that.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like, oh, that's exciting. You could do a soda finish.
Soda finish.
Iron brew finish. That could be a future.
Oh, wow, that would be wild.
People would go
I think
wild.
you would have,
Yeah.
you'd have a queue down
Oh
the
my God.
motorway here. Everybody would want a piece, absolutely.
Especially if it was like a proper like collab and it
Yeah.
was like Tullibardine
Yeah.
X Iron Brew, right?
That would
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to see those
Collaboration.
orange and blues popping on your bottles. That would be cool.
I was surprised there was another bottle that did a vermouth cask
Yeah.
recently as well,
Okay.
which is interesting. Not tried it, but
One for the books, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
that was. I guess again, presumably with a kind of let's hope this becomes okay, and then it hasn't. So
Yeah.
trying to release it and get something for it.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
There's some interesting toasting techniques that are coming out, and there's a company that's doing, it's called like magma charred, where they put like magma volcanic rocks in that are
Right.
superheated.
Okay.
And then so there's no direct contact, there's no firing of the
Right.
wood. It's just like a kind of like a latent heat
That's
toasting.
interesting.
I know.
It's like you're giving the cask a hot stone massage.
Exactly. Yeah, you're just
Having
gently
a sauna.
teasing
There
out
you go.
the sugars. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I know, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. So never tried it, but I heard about the process. That might be.
All right, we need to
Something-
go speak to John, get him some hot rocks,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, he'll be up for that, I'm sure.
Very
I'm sure he might need specialist equipment though. Not always that.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
This is really good. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm glad we waited the couple of years or whatever. It's worth the wait. It was worth the wait.
And
I'm
again,
sure.
it comes down to the whole thing of you being hands-on and, sorry, it's not ready yet. We're not bottling it just for the sake of, the bottom line and getting cash in.
No.
Let's hold tight. It'll be worth it.
It will.
And sure enough. So, wow. Yeah. So, guys, like we say, this is live now. If you're watching this, listening to this, whatever platform you're on, shop.tullibardine.com. We want to minimize those clicks. Get one in your basket and check out now. Let us know what you think. Really cool.
Cool.
Now, the next one, I have to say,
Another single cask.
I am as soon as I heard orange wine, I was like, you've been raving about this. You've already tried this.
Yeah, I have.
I'm intrigued is the word I'll use. I was a bit apprehensive. Then you said it's really good. And I thought, you know what, let's try it. So, ladies, tell us a little bit about this. And Ian, if you can pour, that would be fantastic.
So yeah, this is our current single cask edition. It is an orange wine which been in since 2017. No, this one's been in for 6 months.
2024.
Yeah, 22.
Since 2017
Sorry,
would
that
be
is-
very worrying. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie.
No,
I
no.
might not. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
So it's an 08
yeah.
inventory, and then, as Ross said, 2024.
Sorry, this is 08? So
yeah,
this
so
is
it's
a
Yeah.
16-year-old.
Yeah.
16-year-old, sorry,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Nearly 17, 16 years old.
so much.
With, sorry, how long exactly then, roughly? Sort of a
6 months.
6
6
months.
months.
Yeah.
But we tried after 3 and we were already very excited about how quickly.
It was getting
It was
there.
Yeah,
getting there,
it was
yeah.
so quick compared to the Calvados. We could have gone at 3 easily, and it would have been
Lovely. Yeah.
would have been lovely. But in terms of production and releases, it ended up being about 6 months. But
Yeah. It's 51.9%. It's you were saying it's interesting because you get a load of colour from the orange wine finish.
Lot of
and
colour
that's
on that.
almost
Yeah.
like leading your brain to think, oh, is it going to be orangey? But obviously it's not. Well,
I mean, also, as what I was saying on the other episode, it leads your brain to feel like it must be kind of like a darker, because it looks like it's sherried whiskey as well, right?
Right.
I think you're going to get a bunch of really dark, dried fruits from
Yeah.
it.
The nose is quite quiet for me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me. I don't know. You tell me.
I'm getting cola cubes on the nose for some reason right now.
Cola cubes. What a tasting note. That's cool. Yeah, there is that level of slightly artificial sweetness to it. Quite like that. Yeah.
I mean, orange wine was something that I kind of knew very little about as well. I think I probably
What is orange wine?
I probably had it. I spent a few weeks in Sicily last year, and that was probably the first time I even drank any orange wine.
So what exactly goes into making an orange wine? Because for the novice like me,
As we were up until last year as well.
Cool. All right. So let's share it with everyone.
From our
what is it?
reading, we found that the orange comes from the process, basically, not the palate. So the process of the grape must includes the seeds. So that's what gives it the orange hue, hence orange wine. So it's the process, it's the wine process that...
Similar to rosé, how
Similar
they make
to
the colour of
rosé, yeah.
rosé. It's just the different...
So what sort of grapes would be used for this then?
So I believe this is... Don't make me pronounce it. I've got it written down. It's so hard to pronounce.
Okay.
But in terms of appellations, it's quite mixed. It's there's quite a large appellation in Croatia, some in Italy.
Red grapes.
White grapes.
White grapes.
Yeah, so it's white.
With the skins? No skins?
With the skins and the
Okay.
seeds.
With the skins and the seeds. And it's
Yes.
the seeds that are having that
seeds.
impact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I know nothing about wine other than the few that I know I like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, it's not on the lineup here, but for everyone listening at home, Chateauneuf de Pape from Tullibardine. Sorry, I know it's not here, but I have to rave about it because it's one of my favorite whiskies that you guys do. It's really fucking amazing. Just hits every single time. This is fascinating.
So there's a weird thing about orange wine, which I read actually as well. So there's another type of orange wine, which is they use, they macerate. So there's like a Spanish one that they macerate orange peel in. And this isn't that we used, but it's just a different one. So
So sometimes it will have orange in
orange
it.
in it, yes,
Yep.
but not the one that we've used.
This
but
is
then,
French. Sorry, you said Spanish. Sorry.
Sorry, no, Spanish is the macerated one.
Right, this is Italian.
This is going to be Italian.
Yeah.
Right,
So
sorry,
the
okay.
European, yeah.
But looking at what people are getting, because I was like, I swear I get marmalade in this, even though I don't know if it's like psychological
You're being
because of the
led.
color.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. But
Funny
then I
though.
read that orange is actually common, even though there's no orange in the process
Yeah.
whatsoever. That actually orange is a note that people do get from it. So I get like a more like soury, so marmalade.
It's the Seville marmalade,
Yeah.
the peel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. The
Yeah.
peel of a marmalade as
Yeah.
opposed to the sweetness of the sort of
Yep.
It's
the
the kind
spread.
of like the thick cut, like when you get the bits.
Yeah.
in
with
the-
yeah,
fancy stuff.
exactly.
When
The fancy
we
stuff, exactly. It is the fancy stuff. Well said, Raz.
when we nosed the cask, though, I'm sure we both said it was marmalade. The actual
Yeah.
cask when it first
When
came
we
in,
first
it was
came- yeah.
like marmalade.
Really? Okay,
So
that's so
interesting.
interesting. Yeah. This is cool.
It is cool, isn't it?
So sorry, this is how old again?
16.
2008.
So 16
Yeah.
years.
That's wild. I love that you've shoved this in orange wine. That's so cool.
I know, it's actually quite cool that we're allowed to do this. Sometimes I just feel like, are we allowed to do
100%.
this?
Honestly, you go to
And we-
most distilleries in the country and no chance would they take this sort of a risk. That's cool. That is very cool. So one single cask,
Yep.
50, sorry, what's the
51.9.
51.9, okay.
Yeah.
At a cask strength. Yeah,
Yep.
okay. And it sits beautifully at that cask strength. See, this is what I was talking to you about. And again, personal preference, no judgment. Core ranges need to go to 180 markets globally. So I completely appreciate we need to keep the masses happy, which is nigh impossible, So,
Yeah.
but I love how your spirit works, as you were saying earlier, Roz, at those lower strengths, very accessible, still sits well. It's not thin, it's not disappointing. But at those higher strengths, there's no sort of prickle, there's no alcohol getting in the way of the enjoyment. The flavors are rich and full-bodied. I would describe, tell me what you guys think. I've said this before and I've had people disagree with me. I would describe Tullibardine as quite a robust whiskey, it's very diverse, Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, and
Yeah.
I think it is reflected in our releases and
Yeah.
the range of finishes that we're able to do
Yeah.
and experiment with.
I've never dived into it as much as I have now today and over the last couple of days. I really am beyond impressed. highly undervalued.
Yeah,
Is what I would say about Tullibardine. Like, so underrated. I think it's one of those gems, you know, if you're a custodian, please drop it in the comments. I'd love to know which of our audience has already found this gem and locked in. I was actually speaking to a couple of people last night. I posted a couple of things on Instagram. They're like, oh, mate, you know, I was actually speaking to Ryan as well, who's here at the weekend, taking some pictures with you guys. But I think it's the sort of whiskey that unfortunately some people may overlook, and you shouldn't, is what I'll say right now, because exactly that, Stacey, you know, that range of flavors that you have put in front of us today it's rare to find a distillery that can sort of work across this sort of broad range of flavors and not have none of these have been disappointing. None of these have been like, you've kind of missed the mark there, you know.
It's probably one of the first like OB like only lineups where there's been zero like 100% bourbon in the mix as well, right?
Yeah.
Like,
That's so true. Yeah. That's actually such a good point, Ian, as well. Yeah. You really are toying with your spirit and getting it out there in different, interesting ways. And I love it. Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool. So have you got many other orange wine casks that we can look forward to? No, it's just the one for now, is
We
it?
have one more.
Well, we're not going to be
We're not
releasing
using
it.
it.
If we're
Oh, sorry, Stacey's like, this
We're
is
just
for
gonna
nobody
keep it.
but me.
This is my car.
Sorry, guys, it
Yeah.
leaked. I don't know what happened. It's gone. It's all gone.
Stacey's car.
What I did with this was because, and we've touched on it a few times, because some of our releases are fully matured since new make. So what I did with the empty orange wine was I put new make back into it. So it will be released, but probably in
A long time.
10 plus years.
exactly, yeah. So
And a second fill orange wine.
Second
That's
fill.
cool, yeah.
why not?
How will that impact her?
We'll see how it got so much flavour so quickly. You'd hope that it
Exactly.
still would have quite a lot
Yeah.
of flavour.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
And that higher strength of new make as well, there'll be
Yeah.
more like ethanol soluble compounds that'll come out of the wood, so you'll get a new profile again from the same cask, which is infinitely interesting to me. Maybe not to
Oh,
everyone.
No,
yeah.
totally. I was just going to say,
Yeah.
I love that. I was talking to Minnie yesterday. She's super geeky. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm here for that all day long.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the strength at which you cask, because I'm very lucky, independent bottler in my sort of professional life. I've got a few Tullibardine casks under management. Most of them filled at 63.5%.
Yes.
We've got some up at 6. I think the highest is 69.8. Boom.
Yep.
That's a big whopper. So tell us, what goes into the cask management from your point of view, Stacey, given how you're filling casks? Are there many casks that are filled at those higher strengths or not?
Well,
really?
it depends what it's used for.
Right.
Basically, that's
Cool,
what it
that's
comes
what the
down
answer
to.
I wanted.
That's what it comes down to.
Talk to
So
us.
at the 63.5,
Yeah.
that's stock for us, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it goes in at 69, that's stock that's going to be used for a blend or other products for other markets.
Okay.
Not necessarily here or for Tullibardine. And we have a X amount of capacity here for casks. So it's
Right.
about 10,000. So we have to warehouse elsewhere. So do you want to warehouse and do you want to pay for warehousing for 7,000 casks, or do you want to pay for warehousing for 6,000 casks?
Right.
So the more liquid, the more spirit you can get into one cask.
That's fascinating.
Does that make sense?
100%.
That makes sense, but I thought you were going to basically say the opposite.
Yeah.
Because so many people fill at the 63.5 because that's what everyone else does. And so
Yeah.
if we're trading and
Yeah.
putting stuff into other people's blends, etc., then we know it's at 63.5 and everyone else, we can have their casks. And
Yeah.
But yeah, you've gone completely
Yeah,
the
so
opposite direction.
generally for product that goes into our blends, it goes in at 69. We fill it off at 69.
Cool. And out of interest, actually, we haven't got any blends here today, but you do have some blends under the umbrella.
Well, yeah.
Can we talk about them?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, so we have Highland Queen.
Yep.
And Muirheads, and both of those are actually not in the UK readily available in the UK. Actually, they're usually just at the distillery shop. You can buy them here.
Yeah, that's why I asked. It's
Yeah,
the first
so
time.
they
I thought
are
they were
here,
export
yeah.
only, but they are here as well.
Yeah, here as well.
Cool.
But yes, majority export for Highland Queen especially. So yeah, that's the sort of the blend of Tullibardine, I guess, but it's not exclusively Tullibardine liquid that we would use. So
Right.
it's not a direct link, I guess, on the liquid exact front.
Okay.
But it's a historic. So Highland Queen actually used to be owned by Glenmorangie. Back in the day, it was a Leith, Port of Leith, when they were kicking off. They had Highland Queen as one of their brands, and our commercial director used to work there, and he brought it with him as a brand. So
Oh, cool. Okay.
yeah. So it's an interesting. There's a historic connection to Leith and Mary Queen of Scots. She was exiled there. That's all about the sort of independent spirit and that side of things as well. So we kind of put that on the bottle. That's the reference to Highland Queen. It translates well in markets. They like anything sounding Scottish. So yeah, there's it's really interesting. And Muirheads is similar as well. That also came over from the same way. So
Fantastic.
Those
Okay.
two brands. But yeah, they're just not really available in the UK, sadly. So it's quite mostly abroad. So usually France, Germany, and the Middle East are quite big markets for those two.
Fantastic. Good to know. Good to know. I like this.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
genuinely. You said orange wine yesterday. I was like, really, mate? You definitely want to include that in the podcast? It's great. It's cool. That's very cool.
And I've started drinking orange wine in my personal life now. Because
Have you?
Yeah, because I started to think about it and like
I
read
love
about
it.
it and stuff. So I've started to drink it. And I'm not going to say, I know
Yeah.
it makes me look a bit, having orange wine, only ordering orange wine, but like genuinely they're usually quite nice. Like quite
Yeah.
minerally actually. Is what I get on them. So quite different. And I've moved from my fruity Sauvignon Blanc, rosy teenage kind of drinking to like slightly drier wine. So now the mineral side I'm quite enjoying.
Yeah,
So.
as I said, I mean, I kind of, in Sicily went through a couple of bottles and then had a couple of bottles since coming back as well. And I think that minerally note you're absolutely like spot on with. It's really interesting
Really
stuff.
interesting. Really like it.
Yeah.
I feel like people think you're wanky if you drink it. But I'm okay with that. Or like natural wine.
Oh, I get that. I get all that all the time anyway.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's your whole-
yeah, so that's fine.
Yeah, fair.
Cool. Now we have got one bottle left, and it just says sherry.
We do have bottles that have more detail.
I like
Yeah.
the look of that. No, I'm
Yeah,
a
this
sherry
is the
head,
tasting
so
bottle. This is an
I
unofficial
presume it is
bottle.
whiskey that has been matured in sherry casks.
Yes.
Fully
okay.
matured.
Talk to us. What is this last dram that we're about to tuck in and enjoy?
So this is the first edition of our Handfill series, and it is a 2008 sherry hoggy. So it's fully matured since 2008.
2008 is a great vintage for you guys.
It really is.
I feel like it's
Everything.
1996 for Ben Nevis. 2008, anything from Tullibardine 2008,
Yeah.
guys, keep your eyes open because they all
bumper year.
absolutely slap. Okay,
So,
so,
15 years old.
straight sherry maturation?
Straight
Yeah.
sherry, fully matured.
And
Yep.
again, first fill Oloroso.
First fill, yeah.
Cool. And is it a butt or a hogshead?
It's a hoggy.
Okay, because
It's
we
a
were talking
hoggy.
about this obviously with regards to the core range. Again, guys, 225. It's the size of the Sauternes casks. 228. What is a 225? Is that still a barrique?
I would say the 2 to 8 is a barrique.
Yeah.
And then the
I was talking
2 to
to
5, I would describe that as like a French oak wine cask, I
Yeah.
would say, yeah.
I don't know if you know Serge
Yes.
Valentin,
Yeah.
but I was exchanging emails with him recently, and he said, "Oh no, I wasn't actually. It was on his blog. I'm not going to try and find it now because it'll take me too long. He reviewed our Port Charlotte von Romanet, which I had down as a barrique.
Right.
Apparently, it's not a barrique, and he's grown up in France and he knows his wine very, very well. So, but it had a different name."
Okay.
And I was really interested by that. But so sorry, the 225, what are we calling that?
I would say that's like a French oak wine cask. I would
Okay.
say,
Rather
if that's
than-
enough
Yeah.
of an
Yeah. No, it doesn't
explanation.
matter.
Yeah.
Sorry, again, super geek over here. It makes no odds at all. But just from a point of interest, yeah. But then the 500 sherry butts exclusively for the core
Yes.
range.
Yep.
Now we're looking at a sherry hogshead.
Yep.
And I mean, that is
So smaller cask,
dark looking.
Yeah.
quicker
and of course,
extraction.
yeah.
And because this has been in since day dot,
Cool.
really concentrated, as you can see by the colour of it.
Yeah, it looks wicked. Do you want to crack
Yeah,
away and
let's
pour?
pour away.
Let's do it. Whilst Posh is pouring, question for you. Obviously, Minnie recently joined as the new distillery manager. Are there any other team members joining soon, or have we now sort of got quite a tight-knit group? You seem like such a great team. I really love the setup here. You all seem really well integrated with each other. I love the fact that the owners are fairly hands-off. It seems like things are just ticking over at Tullibardine how they should be. Is anybody else joining the team soon? Is there anything else happening behind the scenes that we can know about?
We're really such a small team. Like we are. I was saying this. There's only 11 of us in the office upstairs, and then we have I think 30 in total, including bottling hall. So there's like bigger with when you include the production, warehousing, and everything. But yeah, we're like such a small team, and we do have our counterparts in France. So that team is growing. So there is a bit of there's some new blood coming in the marketing side on that. So there's a connection there, but not here. I think there's no change here necessarily in the works.
Cool.
We just manage. I was saying, like, I just do, I think probably a marketing manager role in any other company doesn't get to do all the cool stuff that I get to do.
Right.
Way more than like what I would do anywhere bigger, basically. So I'm quite lucky the way we work. Good setup.
Yeah, cool. Oh, good to know. No, yeah, absolutely. Like I say, it's a tight-knit group, and it feels very sort of almost family orientated. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. Some people, don't mix business and family and all that nonsense, but I don't know. It feels very homely when you come here. Everyone seems very.
And I think, we're definitely upping the geek factor on the side of like the whiskey, the love. But I think everyone's quite passionate from every part of the business. So actually, you speak to Sabina, and she's passionate about the shop, and the tour guide is absolutely so at every part, sure, I would hope that it came across that everyone really is passionate about the whiskey, but we're the geeks,
the super geeks.
many as well.
That's why you're on the podcast. There we go. In good company. Wow, that is thick, exactly what I thought it would be. I saw it, I said that looks thick and heavily sherried, and it is exactly that.
Careful, you're gonna get Stevie sneaking up behind you there when you mention the word thick. He's a red eyebrow right there. Let's see, there we go. We've got his
tasty.
We've got his attention. Yeah. What's that? Thick? Whoa. Lassie, trouble at the water hole.
Nutty, like super nutty.
And 56 as well. I don't know if I mentioned that. 56%.
Natural strength.
Natural strength.
And again, no disruption of alcohol. Very well integrated. A little bit pruny.
For this parcel, we had a pick of the bunch, really. We had quite a few from this parcel when we went with this one. But I mean, any one of the batch could have been bottled. It was really quite lovely.
So there's some more hiding away in the wings, ready for the next one. Cool. I like that. Good to know.
Yeah, when we do our tastings, Stacey knows the one that I'm gonna like before I try it. She's like, well, I think you're gonna like this one, because I like a really funky. I've got quite a specific palate that I like, and then sometimes Mike, our sort of general manager, Mike, he'll come in and make a final call. We'll propose a few, and he'll be like, right,
pushing
this is the one. And he goes for what the public will like.
Right.
And Stacey goes, we probably have to rein that in. Your funky nose reined in.
Yeah.
But I think this still has a bit of funkiness to it. But I think this was the second most I remember when we tasted that.
There was two, because we picked one and we thought it was public facing, and then we liked one that we liked it. So we kind of knew, okay, is this going to sell? Is it marketable? That kind of profile.
Yes.
Yeah, people are really enjoying this one. We've taken it to 2 festivals now, and people are rave about this one. It's 15 as well, 15 years old.
Yep.
And it's in the 50 cl, so the smaller bottles. So we've decided to put it at $79.99 a bottle, and we also have the Condru, which is the white wine finish, and that's $59. So we have 2 always on the go, basically downstairs, and people, if they wanted and are traveling, could put them in their suitcases to take a later home. So that was the thinking behind it.
I like that. Yeah, very nice, very nice.
I get a lot of molasses up front. I don't think I've ever tried any. I kind of feel like, do you remember back in the day in the 80s, like people used to refresh their sherry casks with Paxaret? Like it's all been banned.
Oh, I've heard about that,
this kind of tastes a little bit like what I might imagine Paxarette would taste like. Just because it's so nice and sweet up front, but then the dryness kind of comes through afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that beautiful journey. Absolutely. Really thick and juicy. Like for me, it's more pruny up front, like prune juice and raisins, but then it does
Like figs as well.
Figs, yes, yeah. Figs, good, very good call. It's almost got like a bit of a gooseberry sort of vibe to it as well. I think it's very, very sweet up front, very full, and then that dryness kicks in. I love that. Perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
Quite a long finish. Quite a long finish, like dries out slowly across
though,
the palate, really slowly. It's not an astringent dryness where you kind of go, oh Christ, like all the moisture sucked out of my mouth sort of thing.
100%.
It's just steady and slow, but that soft, gentle and the juiciness from the upfront kind of stays. It's kind of weird. It's juicy and drying. It's quite unique, actually.
Yeah, you're right. Like the center of my tongue has got, that's where all the kind of the drying is, and then my cheeks like still full of the juice.
Yeah.
I'm salivating throughout the whole dram.
Yeah.
It's very Moorish.
Yeah. It's Moorish.
That is the way I would describe it. If it was one word, it's Moorish. Yeah. Right up my street, that is. Wow.
You get like a burnt toffee on it as well.
Burnt toffee. That's a good note. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, those kind of caramelized sugars. Absolutely.
The richness of it is almost Christmas pudding. I feel like is a slightly lazy note.
It's an easy one for people to know sometimes. Yeah, but it is. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But when you have like a fancy Christmas pudding that's actually got the kind of like suet in it, it is that kind of richness that adds from it, the kind of slightly fatty notes from the sherry.
God, now you said that, I'm thinking it's also got this, what are they called? Like cocktail cherries?
Maraschino cherries.
Maraschino cherries, thank you, Bros. Exactly that. It's got a maraschino cherry vibe to it in that mid palate between the sweetness and the dryness. It kind of goes through that maraschino cherry sort of stage.
Yeah.
Very open to the power of suggestion, obviously. That's beautiful. And sorry, you said $79.99?
$79.99, yeah.
Okay. Jesus, that's pretty good.
And I think we did 400 bottles of this. So
just
really
under.
limited.
Yeah, just under 400.
Okay.
And we're actually coming to the end of that one, but there'll always be a handful coming back. So we'll always have two on the go, really. So we'll have
Should
to
probably
pick the
think
next
about
one
the next
soon.
one actually.
You have to be here at the distillery to pick it up.
Yes, you do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
That's great, right? Like, you know, you kind of feel like at that point you've made the journey.
And
so
it's
many
been
people
worthwhile.
have kind of, you know, they've done tours before, right? Like you always learn something and it's interesting to see how other people do it. But then it's like, right, great, Handfill. Like that's a reason for visiting.
Yeah.
And a Handfill that's well priced and executed. I don't want to say to perfection, but to perfection. You know, I fucking love this. This is very good.
I mean, you know, I'm not going to name them, but I think there would be other distilleries out there charging probably twice that.
That's literally,
Yeah.
100% for 50 centilitre still. You
Yeah.
know? Exactly. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Or going for the 20 seal and still keeping the same price. Yeah.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah, those 20 centilitre ones kill me a little bit.
I bought them. I'm guilty. But yeah. Yeah, we always just maintain our sort of quality position of like, you can get a really great whiskey, but you don't have to break the bank kind of.
Yeah.
Just going back to the Calvados as well. Opens up quite nicely. What a great lineup. Thank you so much, ladies. Really, really appreciate you sharing these whiskies with us. I mean, like you say, Posh, it's rare to have such a diverse lineup that doesn't include something that's just been left in refill bourbon and kind of no thought or care gone into it. Just like, we'll just pop that up there, you know? It's great.
Yep.
Really, really carefully curated lineup. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, should we do a bit of a roundup?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, cool. Okay. As I said at the beginning, ladies, I'm not going to ask you voting on each and every whiskey, but I will come to you at both at the end and ask which of these is your favorite at the minute and why. So have a good think about that. We'll also ask you what you're most excited about coming up. Could be an expression, could be that Calvados, could be the next sherry, could be an experience. I'll let you decide. But Posh and I are going to go through this lineup and give you our ratings for everyone at home. So we started off with the 225, not a 225-year-old whiskey. This has been matured in a Sauterne cask, or finished in a Sauterne cask, I should say, bottled at 43%. And do we have a price on that, ladies, a retail price?
46.
£46. Lovely. Okay, starting off with the 225 then, Posh. Where are you at?
I'm not sure I've ever had this one before. I've had some of the other core range. I think 46 is pretty reasonable for it. I really enjoyed it with the chocolate. That elevated it another level above.
Yeah.
That's a buy for me. That's a very nice whiskey.
Yeah.
I really can't complain about it. Like I said, Sauternes is a hard type of cask to work with, and this had like enough sweetness. It wasn't overly tannic. It clearly is being matured, also finished in something that's not just bourbon.
Yeah.
So it's not like a flash finish just for the sake of it, right?
Yeah.
That is one of, if not the most accessible way in whiskey to experience a good Sauternes finish.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, you're so particular with Sauternes. You're kind of like me with rum or cognac. So particular about how it's implemented. And I would agree, Sauternes is tough to work with. It does need to be used well. I love that. I think it's great. And I've tried it before. I tried it at the whiskey show with you.
Oh, did you?
At the end, yeah. The 228 stands out to me because I lean into Burgundy. And again, that's kind of the reason that I really started gravitating towards Tullibardine over the last year or two, because I've realized how much access, how much provenance, how much you just dive into all of that. Yeah. I probably overlooked this a little bit, even though I've tried it. I know it's there. It's kind of like, it's great to start with that and to kind of, And at 46.
46, and also it's actually in Sainsbury's. You'll usually get in Sainsbury's for a bit cheaper as well. So there's it's usually
go shopping in Sainsbury's,
guys. There's offers on usually in the 20s sometimes.
Oh wow, okay, at 20,
so not
really?
all the time, but there will be promotions.
Wow,
So,
okay.
Look out for it in the local.
I mean, at 20 something, that would be getting to, that would be pretty much oosh.
100%, man, 100%. Yeah. We'll work off of the RRP to keep things fair. £46 is still a strong buy. That's a great whiskey. Definitely a breakfast whiskey. I think you and I get along very well, Ross. It's the sort of thing I'd love to buy. I'd love to share with people. This is a Sauternes finished whiskey. This is what you're looking for. This is how it's executed well. Strong buy. We moved on to the 18, which is 25% sherry casks, 75% bourbon casks, all first fill for at least 18 years. But actually at the minute, if you're going to buy a bottle, it pushes 20 plus, which is great to know as a geek. Still bottled at 43% and priced at,
£90.
£90. Ian?
I think for 18-year-old whiskey, as a bit of a geek, I'd probably like to see 46 or something, but I think that did sit really well at 43. I wonder whether you're kind of missing out on a core group of people that wouldn't try it unless they've been to a show and tasted
based on that strength.
Just based on the strength.
That's a good point,
at the same time, £90 for an OB 18-year-old is like, I'm not going to say giving it away, but
it's great value.
Compared to what a lot of other people in the market now, you could be looking for easily double that for kind of not really anything above what this offers. So, I think when I first came across Tullibardine probably 10 years ago, there was basically the 25 that's no longer available. Probably wasn't really my price point at that time, and this core range. So it was quite easy to overlook as a brand and think, well, it's, you've got a few different age statements and blending whiskey, blah, blah, blah. But, this is really kind of showing your chops and like what the spirit is capable of and what you can also do with your casks. I think it's really interesting that you've taken those two types of casks and kind of vatted them together rather than kind of finishing like a lot of other people do. I really enjoyed that. Again, I think the chocolate pairing was so
leveled it up,
and
man,
the way
100%.
it flipped it from kind of sherry kind of not dominated, but sherry forward to bourbon forward afterwards.
Yeah.
It's a buy for me again.
Yeah. I'd agree with everything you've just said. Yeah, very well summarized, I would say. Having tried it now, I think it sits very well at 43. I personally think that chocolate just brought it into a whole new realm. It's a very strong buy again. Yeah, very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Very good. We moved from the 18 to the limited edition 75th anniversary 31-year-old. Comes in this beautiful presentation case, which I have to say makes all the difference when you're spending a bit more money. It's nice, a bit of pomp and circumstance, right?
Yeah.
What are we looking at price-wise on this?
$499.99. So
Okay.
it's a bit of a jump up.
£500 there or thereabouts. Ian?
I mean, I always say you can't drink the packaging. I know you always accuse me of being a poncy little
Yeah.
bastard, but I like that box. It is nice.
though.
It's
nice.
Yeah, it's nice. But also, it's nice in a way that that's at a size where it looks classy and it can sit on your shelf.
That's key, not to take over.
The amount of like bottles that have come through where it's like, okay, well, the packaging might be nice, but it's also entirely useless because it's so
I've got to lay
gigantic.
it flat. Now it's ruining my whiskey. Yeah.
Or it takes up the space of 4 bottles,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, you know, it's too big for the shelf, too big for like what I want, and then it's in the bin or in a cupboard somewhere, and no one's looking at it ever again anyway.
Yeah.
Packaging aside, as I said, can't drink this stuff. Kudos to you guys for putting that in a virgin oak cask for 8 years and being like, yeah, it's fine now. It's a really drinkable whiskey, great strength. I think obviously for a lot of people, kind of going back to my previous point, that are kind of used to this going to something 10 times the price is a bit of a jump. And I think actually having this other, having the 18 and some other stuff and the single casks in the range is great because it will
Those
hopefully-
stepping stones.
It will encourage people to kind of take that jump because that is a really nice whiskey. And I think actually, £500 is a lot, but also how many other companies are offering OB 31-year-old single casks for £500?
Not many.
Not
Yeah.
many. Probably, very few. You could probably count them on one hand, right?
Yeah.
I think virgin oak again is the kind of thing that will put off a certain group of people because of the connotations they have about it. But again, like if you get here, it is available at the bar to try by the dram, right?
Yes, yeah.
So get in, try it. I liked it a lot. I think it's still a buy for me. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, cool. Again, I think you summarized that really nicely. It's definitely the sort of thing, had I not tried it, I'd have gone, nah. 8 years in virgin as a finish, that's not for me at all. Now that I've tried it, very well executed, very reasonably priced. It still is a bit of a jump up from your core range. What I would say is I'd buy it and I'd share it with yourself and Stevie. I'd probably want to split a bottle. I don't think I need a whole bottle to myself, but I think it's beautifully executed. And exactly that, if it's the sort of thing where you're thinking, maybe I'd like to try it before I buy it, get down here to the distillery or get up here to the distillery, get across here to the distillery, just visit the distillery, try the dram, and then you're probably going to feel a lot more confident. I give that a strong buy. But again, for me, myself, I would want to do it with a group of friends where we can split the bottle and really dive in. Because this is priced to drink. And that's what I like about it. It's not priced to sit on a shelf and just fawn over for the next 30 years, hope that you win the lottery and that you're able to finally try it. It is accessible. And like you say, I don't think you'd be able to find 30-plus-year-old whiskey in many other places anywhere near this price. So for me, strong buy. We went from there to the Calvados, something that for everyone at home, if you are watching, quickly shop.tullibardine.com. There we go. It's too quick there. Stumbled over myself. It's just launched. It's out there now. You can grab yourself a bottle for the price of
4 or 5.
£145. This is a 17-year-old. Sorry, 17-year-old. And how long was it in the Calvados for again?
About 18 months.
18-month finish.
Mid 2023.
Cool. Lovely. Okay. So about a year and a half in the Calvados. Ian?
I have had, I think, as I alluded to earlier, a number of quite disappointing Calvados finishes where you kind of think, I'd probably just had a Calvados. And actually, I don't like Calvados that much.
Yeah.
Not my favourite spirit by quite some way. There's a bunch of stuff I'd have over and above it. And I'm not going to say it was kind of putting me off like it as a finish or maturation type, but just kind of, again, thinking this is probably quite hard to work with, or maybe people have gone, oh, we want to do something really bold with this. And actually this is a nice, subtle way of playing with the spirit that for me has worked phenomenally well. And I think that kind of apple journey that I described before, I've really picked up on it. And I think, again, £145 for a distillery exclusive 17-year-old single cask.
Cask strength as well.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, the ABV on this is a little bit higher as well, 55. Obviously, it might change a little bit by the time it goes into the bottle, but 55-ish.
Mid-50s, yeah.
Yeah. That's an oosh for me.
Oh, go on. Nice one. Absolutely. Cool. I have to say, for me, kind of similar to the last one. Had I not tried it, I don't think I'd have taken a punt on it. £145. Yes, it's 17. But my mind, in all honesty, and it's not warranted now that I've tried it, my mind would go to 18 months in Calvados. Are they just trying to kind of polish a turd here? Is it kind of just trying to make something that tasted crap taste good?
Yeah.
I'm not so confident. Now that I've tried it, I think it's very reasonably priced. I'd grab myself a bottle. What I would actually do is grab 2 bottles. I'd keep one tucked away, and I'd want to share one with yourself, Stevie, whoever else is willing. Jump in and do a little tasting session. 31 Calvados, boom. Here is Tullibardine in 2 vastly different styles with a finishing period that has elevated it in a way that you almost definitely do not expect. Very, very well executed. Not quite at the Oosh level, but very strong buys from me. Yeah. The orange wine is wild, and I'm so glad that you urged me to include this here. It's very, very cool. Where are we at price point on this one?
125.
125. This is a single cask. Can you buy it online still, though?
Still, yes.
Okay, you can buy it online for £125. You can equally come down to the distillery. And sorry, actually, you can try all of these on your distillery bar.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yes.
Wicked. All right.
Sorry, Calvados, you will, yes, be able to.
So exactly. Cool.
Yeah.
That makes such a difference, I have to say. And again, guys, just another reason to visit Tullibardine. It is I'm really impressed by the distillery. It's aesthetically stunning. Like it surprised me a little bit. I've never visited here before, and I'm kicking myself.
Worth also saying that I think the dram prices at the bar are very reasonable as well. Sometimes, again, you go to a distillery and you feel like it's a bit of a kick in the face. You're paying the same as you would in a bar in London. And you're like,
what's the point?
I've come all the way. And
treat me a little bit. Exactly.
I'm not saying that. Like, I don't want to feel like entitled about it, but just like it's your own product, right? Like you don't need to be like, as long as you're breaking even on it, right? You're encouraging, like you're using it as an opportunity to sell stuff to people.
Yeah. Fair play. No, absolutely. I really enjoyed that. I'm giving it a buy, mate. I think that was delicious. Yeah. Strong buys. Yeah, absolutely. I think, to be honest, I might have given it an oosh, but I think the Calvados in some ways won you over a little bit.
Yeah, it won me over. So I'm going to go for that one, like over the orange wines. That's a buy for sure.
Okay. But this is the beauty of it. There you go. So you tried that yesterday. Calvados today. Single casks from Tullibardine provide range and variety, right? Which is ultimately what we want from distilleries, particularly from distilleries offering single cask editions.
Again, very different from each other.
Yeah.
It's completely different flavor profiles, both worth trying.
Yeah.
So again, like, if that's maybe too much for you, get down here to the bar, have a dram of both, and
make your decisions.
And then get someone else to drive you home.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right. So super strong buys on the orange wine. And we finished off sherry. No, I'm just joking. The fill your own Handfill. This is the only one that you have to be here at the distillery to get.
Right, yeah.
And I tell you what, you better hurry, guys, because there's only a few bottles left. Priced at $79.99.
Yes.
And what ABV was it again? Sorry.
This was 56.
56. So mid 50s again. Ian, try and hold back my.
I really like this again.
This is great, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like I feel bad. I feel like some people are going to come along and give us some comments and be like, oh, you've not said you don't like anything. Like, oh, how much money did Tullibardine pay?
Hey guys, if you're thinking that, come on, you've watched the podcast long enough. You know we're not going to hold back on any of this stuff. We don't like something, we'll be very, very honest and say, tell me about that sherry, because I'm holding back my my response here. I'm doing my best to keep it contained.
I think I might fight you for the remaining bottles down in the shop.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, I know where we're going then. Give it one.
Yeah, it's an oosh from me.
Yes, absolutely, man. I'm going to second that. It's an oosh. $79.99. Listen, some people might be put off. It's a slightly smaller bottle, but actually what you're getting here is phenomenal value. That sherry is exceptional quality. First fill from birth, Stacey?
Yeah.
I mean, again, it just showcases your cask management is exceptional. You really are keeping a close eye on everything that you do, and kudos to you. The whole team here is doing a great job, but I think that the showcase of this here today, and that sherry in particular, is right up my street. I love sherry matured whiskies, and I think that if you talked about Tullibardine being up there with the Macallans, Glendronachs, Springbanks of the world, most people would go, really?
Yeah, what are you on?
Do you know? Really, mate? $79.99 for about, I don't know.
Yeah.
Get down here, guys. That is well fucking worth it. Absolutely phenomenal. Again, showcasing the breadth of Tullibardine, the ability for it to work in so many different styles, the quality of your casks, seriously high grade, and the craftsmanship that goes into it. I'm blown away by that. That's really, really exceptional.
Mini soapbox moment as well. Like, if you're bothered about that being a 50 cl bottle, like, you've got problems.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Definitely. Yeah, again, talking about you saying on the so many distillery exclusives being well up there.
Yeah.
You get 50 cents liters, or like you said, Roz, those 20 CLs sometimes kill me. Oh my God. Yeah. And there's still 50 quid for a 20 cents liter. Like,
or 80.
Really?
Yeah.
But I mean,
crazy.
To that point, I love whiskey. I like to try different whiskey, and sometimes I feel bad because I'm trying to try new things. I've got full bottles that sit on my shelf for a year or two.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sometimes interesting in terms of the oxidization journey it takes, whatever else.
But sometimes seriously wasteful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's been stuff which I've come back to after like 8 months. I'm like, oh, that's terrible now. Do I put that down the sink or try and put it into some smaller things? Or
do I give it to somebody I don't like?
Yeah, exactly. Like, if more people bottled stuff in 35 or 50 CL bottles, like, actually, I'd probably be more likely to buy it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when it's this good. That is phenomenal. Great way to finish. I love it. Ladies, I'm going to come to you now. Who would like to go first? Favorite of the lineup today?
I'll go first. Okay.
Go on then, Ross.
No, because I think we might pick the same one. I'm not sure, but I'm going for orange wine.
The orange wine.
Because when we got the cask in, we were so excited, and literally just like how much you got from it, and we were like, and I think it's a really interesting. I think there's, like, for me, is layers of flavor, and there's like a twist of expectation. Like, it's not exactly how you expect. It's got lots of twists and turns in it. But overall, just really sippable too. And I did actually think maybe in an old fashioned it would be beautiful because there is the marbling of it.
Great.
And I love an old fashioned is by far my favorite cocktail. So I was like, this has got it's an all rounder basically for me. So that's
I love that.
Easy pick for me. The others are obviously great too, but that's my.
But that's your favorite?
Yeah.
I love that. And again, goes back to what I was saying earlier about yourself and cask finishing not being too precious. Yeah. Get it in a cocktail. Yeah. Why not? Let's amplify. Let's experience. Let's just get into different realms. Yeah. Fantastic. Cool. Great answer. Stacey, what's your favorite?
Whilst I do agree with Roz, I have to go with the Calvados.
Hey.
Purely because I feel like that was my child. It was from inception to purchase to filling. I feel like I've been on a journey with that spirit, and I'm so happy that it's
Team Calvados and Team Orange Wine over here. We'll have a fight after the podcast.
I love that.
Calvados for me.
Wicked. Okay. And ladies, what about what we're most excited about coming up? Is it an expression? Is it an experience? You're talking about branching out the what's your group called? The Custodians. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm excited to do more experiments with food that I like for Christmas. But no, I think maybe we're going to do a cask strength this year, and it'll be a 12-year-old cask strength. And I'm really interested because, what you're saying about like having our 18 at 43 and 15 at 43, I think I want to appeal to like the drinker who wants a higher strength, but maybe with a bit of age for us. I think it's just something we don't currently have in our range, and it's a really interesting one. So I've already I've looked at like what the labels would be, a little bit more impressionistic and stuff, and a bit of a change of pace, not the standard label and not the standard expression for us. So I'm quite excited about that one coming out. I think it'll appeal to my side of the geekery, basically. That's why I like it.
All right, love it.
Yeah.
Very exciting. And what about yourself, Stacey?
I think I'm excited about the quarter casks, actually, the 60 litre, purely because I've not worked with spirit that's been in that size of cask before.
Okay.
So I'm really interested to see how the profile will develop in the same amount of time or less time. That's interesting to me.
Awesome. I have to tell you, ladies, sitting here speaking with you this afternoon, I love the passion. You're like kids in a candy shop. And that's how I feel working with whiskey as well.
Yeah.
It's just passion oozing out of you. And I think that makes such a difference. And it really comes through in the brand as well, as I say. So fantastic. Really, really excited to see what's coming from Tullibardine moving forward. Thank you again so much welcoming us over here to the distillery, getting us involved with these beautiful drams. For everyone at home, there will be a bunch of episodes coming out on the Whiskey Baron channel. In fact, the distillery tour with myself and Minnie is probably already live, so you can check that out now. Really enjoyed talking with her as well. Again, another fellow geek like all of us. So lots of exciting stuff here. But yes, Tullibardine, highly underrated and one to watch. I'm excited to see what's coming down the line for you all. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us at home. It's been another Uncut and Unfiltered. For now, Slange.
Slange.